was supposed to be a simple weekend getaway. Just 4 friends, a cabin deep in the woods, and the promise of an escape from the chaos of their daily lives. Jack was the one who found the cabin. Secluded, cheap, and right next to a beautiful forest trail, he had said. But when they arrived, something felt off. The air carried a strange stillness, as if the trees were listening. The moment their car doors shut, the sound echoed unnaturally, as though swallowed by the looming pines. "Creepy," muttered Lacey, rubbing her arms. "This place is giving me weird vibes." "Relax," Jack scoffed. "It's just the isolation getting to you." They settled in, but as night fell, the cabin seemed to breathe. The wooden walls groaned, and the wind outside sounded less like wind and more like whispers. Shadows stretched longer than they should have, flickering unnaturally against the walls. Then came the knocking, a soft, deliberate tap at the cabin door. 3 knocks, slow, steady. "Did someone else rent a cabin nearby?" Daniel asked, peering out the window. The moonlight cast deep shadows through the trees, but there was no sign of another soul. Jack swung the door open. Nothing, just the empty forest. The dirt path leading back to their car was undisturbed. "Probably just a branch hitting the cabin," he said, shutting the door. An hour later, the knocks came again. 3 precise raps. But this time, closer. Lena, the quietest of the group, had been staring at the window. Her voice was a whisper. "There's someone out there." Jack and Daniel grabbed the flashlight and flung open the door. The beam cut through the trees, slicing the dark. But there was no movement, no sign of anyone. Then they heard it, a voice, barely audible, floating from the trees. "Come outside, we see you," Lena gasped. "Did you hear that?" she asked, but the others had already slammed the door shut, locking it. "That was probably just..." Jack began, but he stopped. A new sound filled the cabin. Scratching, fingernails scraping against the wooden walls from the outside. The slow, deliberate drag of something trying to get in. The sound moved, traveling along the walls, circling the cabin, like something was testing for weakness. Lacey was shaking now. "That's not a branch. That's not the wind." The whispers returned, a chorus now, urgent and hungry. "Let us in. Let us in. Let us in." Daniel grabbed a knife from the kitchen. "We need to get out of here." Jack was already shaking his head. "And run where? We're in the middle of nowhere." Then the lights flickered, and just before the darkness swallowed them, the cabin door rattled violently. The lock held, but the pounding grew furious. The walls shuddered, the roof creaked. Then, a new sound. From the loft above, the wooden floor creaked. Lacey's breath hitched. "It's inside." They hadn't gone upstairs since arriving. The cabin was small, 1 main floor, and a tiny loft that overlooked the living area. Jack turned slowly, eyes lifting toward the loft railing. The others followed. A shadow moved. Not fast, not sudden, just shifting, as though it had been standing there the whole time, watching. Then it moved again, a long, deliberate step closer to the railing. The dim light flickered again, illuminating a sliver of something pale. A face, but wrong. The eyes too large, too empty. A mouth that stretched too wide, curling up at the corners as if in amusement. Jack didn't hesitate. "Run!" Daniel yanked open the back door, and they sprinted for the car. Twigs snapped under their feet, breath fogged in the cold night air. Jack fumbled with the keys, fingers trembling as he unlocked the doors. Then Lacey screamed, a raw, piercing sound. They turned just in time to see hands, reaching out from the trees, stretching impossibly long. Grasping, Lena was yanked backward, her body dragged into the forest with an unnatural speed. Her scream was cut short. No! Daniel lunged, but the trees swallowed her whole. Not a trace remained. Jack shoved the keys into the ignition. The engine roared to life, tires skidding as he slammed the gas. They didn't stop, didn't look back. It wasn't until they reached the nearest town, hours later, that they spoke. What the hell was that? Lacey sobbed. Jack shook his head. I don't know, but we're never going back. No one ever found Lena. The authorities searched, but the forest swallowed its secrets. And late at night, if you stand at the edge of those woods, you can still hear it, the whispering, calling for the next soul foolish enough to listen.